Welcome to the online class. Today I am going to take the class for 7th standard English Term 2 poem. Title is The Poem of Adventure. The Poem of Adventure. Okay children, now we will see about the poet. Actually this poem was written by George Rukos. He was born on 30th June 1951 in Samos, Greece, and now lives in Melbourne, Australia. He is an aspiring poet who has written quite a number of poems inspired by nature, science, philosophy and spiritual aspects of life. He has studied Eastern and Western religions and has associated philosophy for over 35 years and has practiced various forms of yoga and meditation. Come, let us go into the poem. Before going to see the poem, we will see the words, glossary words, which are we come across in this poem. Now we will see glossary. First one, adventure. Adventure means heroic activities, deeds, actions. Excellent means very great. Embrace, hug. Wind stream, that means flow of air. Lance, spear. Chivalry, bravery. Abated, to become less strong. Adroit, expert. Next one, bounce. Spring up, that means jump, combat, fight. Children, now we will see the summary of this poem. Adventures hide themselves deep in the mountains. They have different forms and shapes. People who seek adventures look at the world in a special way. We should attract adventures into our habit. For that, we should close our eyes. We should ask adventures to come in and embrace us. We should imagine that we have tiny wings on back. We should remember that we may bounce. Bounce means spring up, a jump, a bit when we take a new step. The knights in the age of chivalry were strong and bold. Chivalry means bravery. They carried a sword or lance. Lance means that is E.T. They covered themselves with a shining armor. Palagalu shining means armor, kavasan. The knights shot romance. They were ready to fight for a righteous cause, noble reason. They displayed their value by doing so. The knights of olden days defied death. Their combat means fight was a life and a death struggle. Still they fought for their country and their king. Their adventure were aimed at goodness and sacrifice. Children, now I just read out the poem with the explanation. Just listen. The poem of adventure. Deep inside the mountain, the adventurers hide themselves. They are of all forms and shapes. They all have an excellent ending because those that live their lives in adventure see the world in an extraordinary special way. For example, if we go far away inside a mountain, we can see an adventurous hide, that is in different kinds, types and shapes. We can see the mountains, inside the mountains, that is caves, and also the shapes also, elephant shape, horse, like that, etc. on the mountains. If we go inside, we can see that it has an excellent ending. It is nature, by nature, the shapes we can find out because heroic activities, persons see the world in an extraordinary, special way. So like that mountains, if we go inside, we can find out the different shapes. It ends with a special ending. There will be like that the adventures. That is, those who are doing the heroic activities. These persons, they were extraordinary. They were in special way. Okay. Now next remaining stanza we will see. To attract the adventures into the patterns of habit, you only need to close your eyes and ask them to embrace you. You can also imagine that you are transparent and feel the wind stream through you instead of going against you, or imagine there are tiny little wings on your back, and every time you take a new step, you bounce a bit. Now I explain these lines. If you want to be an adventurer, you want to close your eyes. That means the aim, the goal must embrace you. Embrace means hug. That fire, spirit, inspiration and a definite parts of one's regular habit must attract you. You have to remember that you are transparent and feel the wind should not against you, it must enter in you, with you. Or imagine on your back of you, you have your wings. Every new step you keep, just jump with joy. Bounce means spring up. Now children, next come to the next remaining poem lines. Maybe life itself is one big adventure if only you have the correct shades on. Back in the days of old, when knights were bold, who with a sword or lance in armor sought romance. I explain this. Maybe life itself is one big adventure, but if you have correct spirit, you can win. In olden days, knights, that means soldiers, they were bold and they were with a sword. Sword means patayam, or lance eating. The end will be very sharp. Armor means kavasam. Short, they just seek, they just used to fight with that. So that much brave we must also have in our life. We want to be brave and also we want to have that spirit to fight with anything against. Now I come to the next remaining lines, that is, it was the age of chivalry, long ago in man's history, when to fight for a righteous courage, when to fight for a righteous cause, one did gain considerable applause. Children, actually, it was the age of chivalry. Chivalry means brave. We must have that brave, then only we can fight for righteous cause, the noble cause, reason. And also, the soldiers also, they fought for their righteous cause and they received a considerable applause. Next remaining lines I just go through, just listen. It was mainly for show, love and glory. They deemed themselves being worthy to capture the heart of some fair maiden, which was the most desired prize laden. Oh, they would strike heavy blows on all of their opponents and foes in a 1-to-1 combat, defying death as crowds watched with abated breath. Now children, I explain this. To show love and glory and to capture the heart of fair maiden, they strike with heavy blows on all of their opponents. Opponents means ediradigal, and foes. Foes means pagaivargal, in a worthy manner. In a 1-to-1 combat. Combat means fight. Defying, that means disobeying, refusing. Just they refuse the death also. As crowds watched crowds put and watched with abated, maimarand, breathe. Just the crowds also, they watch how they fight. For example, if you go to a picture, how you will be? You just abated, maimarand, you will just keep interest in that. Or else if you go to any hills, you will be keenly watching, interesting, enjoying. Like that, the crowds also watched the knights, because the knights, they want to just cover the fair maiden. So they fight opponents and foes in a worthy manner. Okay children, next remaining lines, poem lines I read out. Just listen. Yes, it was far back in those days of yore that courage and strength came to fore, where there was this life and death struggle, such issues at hand the knights would juggle. Now I explain this. Yes, in olden days of or means past days, they had courage and strength that came to the fore, that means front to the soldiers. That courage, in the olden days they have that courage, they were having that fore, they just kept in front, where there was this life and death struggle. Even though that is the death struggle, they have that courage and also that strength. Now remaining lines I read out. And in fighting for their country, faith and king, noble impressions and people's minds would ring, that even through the ages are held in high esteem. Those knights in shining armor do now all see. I explain this. The soldiers fought for their country with faith, and also they were faith to their king. Noble impressions on people's mind would ring. Shining armor. Shining means palabalakam armor, kavasam. Do now all see. Just they always were faith to the king. Who? The soldiers. Now remaining lines, I read out poem lines. There are many legends based on their heroic exploits. A legacy of tales which have been told with much adroit, highlighting aspects of human wisdom related to virtue and vice, and the lessons to be learned are those of goodness and sacrifice. Children, now I will explain this. There are many legends. Legends means nothing but Purana Kadaigal, stories based on heroic exploits. Ancestors' legacy, just legacy means left, that means tell stories. Adroit, skillfully, theramai, about the heroic deeds, highlighting aspects of the human wisdom related to virtue. Virtue means good thing, and vice. Vice means nothing but negative. Both good things, positive will be there, negative will be there, and the lessons to be learned are those of is goodness and sacrifice. How the soldiers, there may be positive and negative, that is virtue and vice, but the lesson what we want to learn, the goodness, only the goodness, and also how they sacrificed for their country, how they are faith to the kings. Now last stanza I am going to read, just listen. History usually repeats itself time and again, as it often happens. A situation comes when we are asked to do something for a just cause, and acting with chivalry we shouldn't pass. Children, now listen carefully, last stanza. Normally a proverb which means that what happened in the past will happen today also. It often happens, a situation comes when we are asked to do something for just a cause. We should act bravely we should not hesitate to fight for goodness. So this is the lesson what we learn. We must be brave and we must be have courage like the soldiers, and also we must fight for only the goodness, and we want to sacrifice. We should not hesitate to fight for goodness. So this is the lesson we learned from this poem. Now we will see poem appreciation and poetic device and paragraph. Children, now we will see poem appreciation. First I read out the poem. First one, deep inside the mountain, the adventurers hide themselves. See the question. Where do the adventurers hide? Where do the adventurers hide? Adventurers hide deep inside the mountains. The adventurers hide deep inside the mountains. They are of all forms and shapes. They all have an excellent ending. What have an excellent ending? What have an excellent ending? What? Adventures. Adventures have an excellent ending. Excellent means very great. When to fight for a righteous cause, one did gain considerable applause. When will one get an applause? When? One will get an applause when he fights for a righteous cause. So this is the righteous, noble cause. Righteous means noble cause, reason. So one will get an applause when he fights for a righteous cause.
Go slow.
Children, now we will see poetic device. I read out the poem lines. Back in the days of old, when knights were bold, who with a sword or lance, in armor short romance, pick out the rhyming words. Rhyming words means the same sound. See here, first line, old. Second line, bold. Old, bold. Third line, lance. The fourth line, romance. Lance, romance. So, old, bold, lance, romance are the rhyming words. Now, second one we will see. Because those that live their lives in adventure see the world in an extraordinary special way. Write the alliterated words. You have to find out the alliterated words from these two lines, these lines. Now see here, alliteration means nothing but in a line, the word first letter will be the same. See here, in this first line, what are the words? Those, that, here that. See that first letter T. Those, T, that, T, there, T. So, here see those, T, this first. Now second line, see world, and also here we can say way. World, way, here also live, lives. Live, lives. So those, that, there, first letter T. Live, lives, first letter L. World, way, first letter W, W, or the alliterated words. Okay children, now come to the third question. It was mainly for show, love and glory. They deemed themselves being worthy to capture the heart of some fair maiden, which was the most desired prize laden. What is the rhyming scheme? Here we are going to find out the rhyming scheme of these lines. Rhyming scheme, see here the first line, the last word it ends with glory. Second line, the last word ends with worthy. Glory, worth. Y, the sound. And also this one is ye, they. Third line, see, to capture the heart of some fair maiden. N. Fourth line, which was the most desired prize laid. So this one B, B. So the rhyming scheme is A, B, B. Children, now we will see the paragraph. First paragraph, what does the poet say about the adventures? Adventures hide themselves deep inside the mountain. They have different forms and shapes. People who seek adventures look at the world in special way. We should attract adventures into our habit. For we should close our eyes. We should ask adventures to come in and embrace us. Embrace means hug. We should imagine that we have tiny wings on our back. We should remember what we want to remember, that we may bounce a bit, bounce a spring up, jump a bit when we take a new step. So the poet says about the adventures, that is, they hide themselves inside the mountains at different forms and shapes, and also they seek different adventures, and also they are different in the world, that is in special way, extraordinary persons. We should attract adventures into our habit. We should close our eyes. We must we must keep the adventures as our role model. That is, they must embrace us. That spirit must embrace us. We should imagine that we have tiny wings, and also we have wings. We should remember that we may bounce a spring up. That means a jump when we keep a step, new step. When we keep a new step. Okay, children. Now, second paragraph we will see. Children, now second paragraph we will see. How did the knight in the age of chivalry involve themselves in adventures? We will see how they involve. The knights in the age of chivalry were strong and bold. They were strong and bold. The knights were strong and bold. Knights means soldiers. They were strong and bold. They carried sword for a lance. Pattayam. Lance, iti. They covered themselves with shining armor. Shining, palabalakam armor, kavasam. The knights sought romance. They were ready to fight for a righteous cause. They were ready to fight for a righteous cause, righteous, noble cause, reason. They displayed their value. By doing so, they were just able to win the love of their lady love. The knights of olden days defied death. Their combat was a life struggle. Combat means fight. Even though it was struggle, just they fight for what purpose they fight, able to win the love of their lady love, that is fair maiden, to cover their love of lady. They fight, even though life has struggle, still they fought for their country, and also they fought for their country and their king. The adventures were aimed at goodness and sacrifice. Actually, the soldiers, they fought for goodness, for righteous things, righteous cause, for their country, for their king. And some part they just fight for to show their courage, the crowds, to get the applause from the crowds, and also to attract the fair maiden. Just they fight with brave, with strong strength and courage. Okay, children. So far we have seen the poem of adventures, poetic device appreciation, poetic that is poem, paragraph, everything we have seen. We just go through this. We will see in the next class. Thank you.